let me ask you: Were you on the lobster boat? Have you gotten ashore yet?
Yeah. No, we got to shore. Definitely something different, man. Have you guys ever held a live lobster before?
Probably not
Not
out
right
of
off
the
the
ocean
boat or out of the net.
at Red Lobster.
Well, I can tell you, they like to pinch you, and they will use their claws.
Please.
Yeah,
You
keep
didn't get
going.
bit,
Where did you get pinched? How did this all go?
Yeah, no, it went really well. I was helping them clean out the traps, which I've never done that before.
Nice.
And when I grabbed them, apparently you're supposed to kind of stay away from an area where they can grab you. So they may have gotten a finger, but it was definitely an experience. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun.
And usually when you're driving, you have like a flame retardant suit. You got gloves and stuff like that. Were you wearing any kind of protection?
Yeah, I had gloves on,
Okay.
but that little guy had quite the claw. I'll tell you what, he was probably the strongest lobster in the ocean. But, when you sign up to be a race car driver, I don't think lobster catcher was part of the criteria I thought when it was younger. But, hey, here we are.
All right, tell us about signing up for a race car driver. We were trying to go through your background, being here from Connecticut, and you told us last time how much of a family affair this job is for you. Explain to our listeners again exactly how you all got started.
Yeah, no, so being from Connecticut, I grew up in Meriden, or I grew up in Berlin, but we had a little quarter-midget track in Meriden, Connecticut, and I started racing there until I was probably the age of 11 or 12, and when I was at 14 years old, I started racing open-wheel modifieds, which any of your listeners know in New England is a big thing, and I've won a lot of track championships and the Wheel and Modified Tour Championship, and from there it's just been quite the journey to where we are now, and definitely loving every second of it.
Driving for Stewart Haas Racing, talking to Ryan Preece. Difference between NASCAR and those speeds, and like when you were younger and the smaller tracks and the lesser speeds. But what was the first experience when you were like going over 200 miles an hour? What was that like for you?
Yeah, I'll never forget it. Going 200 miles an hour in anything is just fast, right? So it was Texas Motor Speedway. It was in a Cup car. And I remember looking at the infield grass as I'm going through on a qualifying lap thinking, man, we are booking it right now. So it's it definitely puts it all in perspective. But when you grow up racing and it comes natural, right? It's just something that we do. So to most that probably don't go over the speed limit or maybe creep over that 80 mile an hour mark, it's definitely an experience.
When do you know that you have a good car on a specific track for the week? What are you feeling? What are some of the things that tell you, like, yeah, this is going to be a good run this weekend?
I'm trying to sit here and think what I can relate it to somebody who's listening. Most people fish, right? Everybody's gone out fishing for the most part. And when you throw out that first cast and you catch a fish, and right away, you just know it's going to be a good day, right? Well, the same thing for me when I strap in that race car and I'm driving out back to get in line or go onto the racetrack, and you can just feel the front end of that car just really gripping. Those are the days before you even get up to speed that you know you're going to have a good race car.
Back in April, you got the pole for Martinsville. You led most of that race. Was that one of those races or one of those tracks that just everything was clicking on that weekend?
Yeah, so Martinsville, from the short track side of things, it's somewhere that I bring a lot of confidence to when I get in that car, and just knowing that the team, that we were going to bring fast race cars, and just as soon as we showed up, yeah. So to answer your question, 100%, it was somewhere that going into the weekend, I felt like we could be a contender, and we were. We qualified on the pole, led a lot of laps, and unfortunately had a speeding penalty that forced us to have to pass a lot of cars to get back to where we did. But it was a good day.
Talking to Ryan Preece from Berlin, Connecticut. He's a NASCAR driver, races for Stewart Haas Racing. When I was in the big leagues, there were certain stadiums that had my number and teams that I just could not beat. Are there any racetracks that, I just have bad luck, or I haven't mastered yet?
One of them, I always go into a racing weekend with a positive mindset just because I love what I do. I love racing, and I feel that if you don't have a good attitude going into something, you're probably not going to be good at it. So I guess I really don't have one. One that I'm kind of unsure of right now, of just because I've never done it, is the Chicago Street Course. That's something we're doing this weekend, and I'm really eager to get there and to check the course out and to be a part of that race weekend this weekend.
After that race, you come home to New Hampshire Motor Speedway for the Cran 301. We just had the Travelers Championship big PGA tournament right here in the middle of Connecticut, where Keegan Bradley, a New England native who has been to that tournament since he was a kid, was super stoked to win it, super stoked to be in the lead on Sunday, and just really soaked it in. Does New Hampshire Motor Speedway mean that to you? I know it's way far away from Connecticut compared to other things here in New England, but it still is sort of our race. And for a guy like you being from this area, does it have more meaning to you with the rest of the races that are on the schedule for NASCAR?
It would, to what you just said about him winning there, would be the same thing for me. I grew up going as a kid. That's my home track I would consider for the Cup Series, and yeah, I mean, so many memories, and really the meaning of what it would be to win there in the Cup Series would be huge.
When was the first time you did go up to New Hampshire?
Probably when I was 6 or 7 years old. Yeah, I mean, I was that kid on a bicycle riding around that place. We camped there, and you know, I was the same kid that I'm sure is going to be there, that, you know, in 2 or 3 weeks, that's riding a bike, hoping he can race there one day.
What's it like racing in front of 150,000 people?
Yeah, so the energy of that, when you're introduced to the crowd and you know, they're amped up, they're ready to watch a race, and you're amped up because they're amped up. I mean, you just feed off that energy. So when you have that many people cheering for you, it's a big day.
What are some things that you want to accomplish and get over the hump and get into the playoff? Like, for the next couple of weeks, what are some of the things that you and your team really have to do to focus in and climb up that board a few more spots?
Yeah, so the short track stuff is definitely going to help us because aerodynamics aren't quite as big as some of this other stuff, and we're really going to have to hone in on the mechanical side and make some grip. And New Hampshire is one of those racetracks. So for us, consistency has certainly been better, I would say, over the past 5 races. We've had all 5 top 20 finishes. But yeah, to be honest with you, it's a constant evolution. We're working on it, and hopefully we can have a really strong run here in Chicago and lead it up into Atlanta and New Hampshire Motor Speedway, having some really, really good runs, or maybe try to sneak one in there.
Do you get to go and drive like the fastest Ford Mustangs? And if so, what's the fastest you've been in, like one that they would sell on the street?
Yeah, so I actually, I have a 2014 Ford Mustang that I twin turboed and completely built. That makes about 1,100 horsepower. So it's
wait, what? 1,100?
1,100 horsepower.
Yeah, 1,100. It's pretty fast.
Now I know the streets of Berlin, I know there's some racing going on there illegally, so forget about those streets. But just a normal like day out on the town, do you actually drive like with the normal public? Can you do that?
I can. Yeah, it's street legal.
But I mean, for your mind, like, are you like all of us and you follow the rules of the road, or do you let her rip and you kind of open it up a little bit with that 1,100 horsepower?
What do you want me to tell you?
Of course he does.
I just know
you don't have to answer
but
that.
I just know a lot of race car drivers
Mr. Preece, you don't have to answer that.
Preece, I just know a lot of you guys know one speed and one speed only. And a lot of you just hold back from actually getting on the real streets.
And you know what that is? That's 65 miles an hour in the middle lane with your blinkers. Blinkers all the time. No, but honestly,
how loud is that car?
Yeah, I enjoy it.
How loud is that car?
Extremely loud.
That's
it's
awesome.
Extremely loud. It's
I like you even more right now, Ryan. Now that I know you have that car.
You know what? If you go on my Instagram page on Ryan Preece _, you can see a video of it right on the top.
Awesome.
All right, absolutely. Well, young man, continued success. Don't let the lobsters bite one of your fingers
Yeah,
off. That
stay
might,
away from that.
hurt your career. So, but thank you
I'll
so
try
much.
not to.
Thank you so much for a few minutes of your time, and good luck this week.
Thanks, Ryan.
Anytime. Thank you.